Attorneys general from 6 states are now pursuing legal action to challenge President Trump's revised travel ban, which is set to take effect on Thursday. Here are some of the complaints. Oregon claims the order hurts residents, employers, and the economy. In Washington state, officials say it has the same illegal motivations as the original ban and that it harms state residents. Minnesota. Leaders there argue that President Trump cannot override his initial ban with a new one. New York calling it a Muslim ban by another name. Massachusetts claiming the ban is unconstitutional and discriminatory. And finally, Hawaii, the first state to take the president's order to court, says it harms the Muslim population, tourism, as well as foreign students. Let's bring in now Robert Schulk. He's a defense attorney and a former prosecutor, and Alex Little, a defense attorney and former assistant federal prosecutor as well. And I want to start, though, gentlemen, with the breaking news coming out of the criminal justice world. U.S. Attorney for the Southern District, New York, Preet Bharara, fired after refusing to resign yesterday. As you well know, it's part of 46 federal prosecutors, Obama administration holdovers, who were asked to resign yesterday by the Trump administration. Now, this one is a big deal because Preet Bharara was personally asked to stay on by President Trump and then Attorney General nominee Jeff Sessions at the time, although the Trump administration moments ago saying this account was never confirmed by the Trump transition team, but was solely an account from Bharara himself. Robert, I get your reaction first.
Yeah, I've been practicing law criminally as a prosecutor and defense attorney in the state of New York my entire career. Preet Bharara is above reproach, and I think it's unfortunate that political decisions are being made to take a man out of office who investigated his own political party. He has open investigations against the governor of the state of New York and the mayor of New York City, who are both the same political party as him. He does it the right way. Unfortunately, he was asked to resign. He's one of the best we've had here in a long time, and it's upsetting that there was obviously either a miscommunication or as to whether or not he was asked to stay or leave. But I wish he was asked to stay because he does it the right way every day.
Alex?
Yeah, it's an incredible insult to, I think, the prosecutors who work day in and day out and stand up in court and say, I represent the United States, to take somebody like that who is not political, who's doing the job right, and kick him out the door. It's absolutely an insult to those people, and I think it's just another sign that this administration is gutting bureaucrats who are doing their job right.
So do you feel that there is going to be follow-up to this, that we're not hearing the last of this?
Well, look, I mean, he's not the only one. It's happened here in Nashville. It's happened in districts across the country. And you have folks who work underneath them who have to feel like the president doesn't have their back. And when that's
But I mean, he does have the right to ask the former folks who worked under the former president to leave.
But at the same time, I would expect the White House to care about what these people do on a daily basis and the job they do. And there was never any accusation that Preet was not doing that the best.
Robert, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, again, you're politicizing an office where the man's job is to enforce the Constitution of the United States of America and the laws of this great country, and he does that every single day. And just sweeping, yes, there's precedent for it. Janet Reno asked 93, I believe was the number, U.S. attorneys to resign back in, I believe, in 1993. And the thing about it is just because there's precedent for it doesn't make it right. You need to ask yourself, is the right person in office to enforce the laws of this country and to keep the citizens of our country safe? And he does that. And
Arthel, it's also how you do it. I mean, if the president had people in place, his own people who he wanted better, who were ready to go, this administration hasn't nominated a single U.S. attorney yet. And so you leave these offices without a commander. And that's incredibly difficult to do, to actually then effectively prosecute cases across the country. So it doesn't serve the president's interest, even if he wanted other people doing it.
Okay, well, we need to move on. I know there will be more conversations about this very topic this weekend and next week as well. But let's move on to the travel ban 2.0. Supposed to take effect next Thursday, March 16th. 2 days from now, though, Monday, you've got 5 additional states planning to file complaints challenging the revised ban. Hawaii already filed a complaint. And today, guys, the same judge who issued the order blocking the original travel ban, refusing to block the revised version, saying the state's lawyers, well, they needed to file more extensive documents. So do these state attorneys general face an uphill legal battle, Alex?
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's difficult to overturn an executive order. The only reason it was so much easier to overturn the last one was because it was so poorly constructed. Courts tend to presume that the president, when drafting an executive order in Congress and drafting laws, do so competently. So you have a high bar to overcome. One of the biggest problems, though, for the president here is that the previous ban happened at all. And so that's history the court's going to take into account. This is going to proceed more slowly. I think the court's going to be more deliberative about the challenges. I think ultimately, though, it's going to end up in the same place, and a couple of courts will find this unconstitutional or otherwise problematic.
What's your take, Robert?
No, I think there's going to definitely be an uphill battle for the states because, again, remember, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is one of the most liberal courts in the country. And, this was forum shopped to that specific location. And the thing that you have is that they never even addressed whether or not the president's executive order was lawful and whether he had the power to do it. Anyone who reads the law is clear that the president can do what he did. The question becomes whether or not there is proper constitutional questions being raised by the states that harms their constituents and their citizens. And you have to have standing. And that's the constitutional thing of standing. We could sit here and do a 2-hour segment on it, and most of us still wouldn't understand it. And the thing with standing is that the state of Washington is trying to claim that their university employees are being harmed because some of them are nationals and they can't travel around. The problem is this, is that the state is acting on behalf of the university, is that acting on behalf of the teachers. Those teachers might have standing. They would be the ones to file the lawsuit. Standing is something that the Supreme Court is a stickler for. Even if this gets moved, the TROs are granted, the Supreme Court could say, no, you never had standing to begin with, and the order would remain in place.
So, Alex, I'll give you the last 25 seconds. Will the revised travel ban pass, or will it pass maybe after even more changes?
I think it's going to stay in place for a while. I think the ultimate question, where the rubber is going to meet the road, is whether the folks who have brought suits can prove that there was a religious and anti-Muslim animus that really drove it. And if the courts believe that's the case, and there's certainly a lot of evidence out there in terms of tweets and statements of people who were involved in it that suggests that's the case, and if courts determine that it was motivated by religious bias, it's not going to stand up.
Alex Little, Robert Schalk, I have to leave it there. Thanks to you both.
Thank you.
Thanks, Arnell.